What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Another episode. 2 guys, 1 mic. Going 3 strong again this week. Back to full strength. Week 1 is in the books. Some surprises, some injury bugs. You know, health played a huge factor again, like we were saying last week, for a bunch of our predictions for our records that we thought health would be a factor, an X factor in that. So. Still some pretty good games, though. Still some pretty good games. Some of us have a very surprising team, I think. Some of us, I wouldn't quite need to panic yet, but we're a little worried. And some of us they're just good teams. You know, we got some good defense. So we'll get into it. We'll start running down some of these games and give some reactions to it. We didn't really get into detail last week about the Lions and Chiefs, so we can start there. What do you think, Mike? What did you feel about the Lions and Chiefs game? Anything stick out to you?
That the Chiefs need Travis Kelce back. That stuck out big time. They looked all out of sync without Kelce in there, but we've talked about it for a while. You know, our adopted team. I think the Lions have just gotten better and better every year, and they proved it off on a nice start on that Thursday night.
Yeah, definitely. The Lions are definitely going to be a strong team. Kansas City needs Kelce, and they need to find a receiver that can catch. And we talked a little bit last week, too. They don't really have that the number one runner either. Pacheco didn't really do much for them. So, but I still think they'll be all right. Which brings us into our Sunday games. We'll start off with the Panthers-Falcons. I didn't really see much in this game, and there wasn't really much that really stuck out to me. I don't know if anything really stuck out to you guys with this or not.
I think one thing that was pretty funny was Bryce Young's first touchdown got through into the stands.
Yeah.
So, but I heard it got back to.
Yeah, they got back down.
So.
Robinson's first touchdown was pretty nice too. Bijan Robinson there, breaking a couple tackles, getting in. So I guess you could look at a couple upsides there for those guys, the young guys, showing some good things. Then I would say probably the biggest surprise of the week was the Browns taking it to the Bengals 24-3 and holding Joe Burrow to 82, 85 passing yards, something like that.
This is my fantasy quarterback in one of my leagues. God,
dude, he
got me negative points.
They rocked him. We were kind of watching this game when we were at the benefit, and they couldn't do anything. The Bengals couldn't do anything.
T. Higgins had like 8 targets for nothing. Like he had a goose egg.
Yep.
Jamar Chase did nothing. Joe Mixon did absolutely nothing. I think it was the weather conditions were a tough situation in that one.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was like just week 1 rust, or maybe the Browns are going to be a little bit better, and maybe that good of a defense, or maybe a little bit of both, but. I guess definitely see how the Bengals turn around this week.
Yeah, they have. I think the Browns have a pretty good formula for winning, where they have a strong D and a good run game.
Yeah. Chubb is a beast.
Yeah, and I think the Bengals' offensive line is a huge weak spot for them. No,
let's not.
Burrow didn't really do anything when he got hurt there in training camp, so
true.
Maybe it's just a little bit of rest too.
Yeah. Did they just release Lyle Collins? Didn't the Bengals just release him?
Yeah.
Right after that game? That's crazy.
I tell you what, let's not push the panic button yet, because I think it's week 1. I think they have a really good team. I think they'll bounce back this week pretty nicely.
Well, let's hope so for your fantasy sake. And they bounce back, because you have quite a few of those guys on your team.
Or something.
What did you say, Mike?
I need Higgins to do something.
Yeah.
I know.
Good old goose egg, huh?
Yeah.
Then our next game down in the AFC South, we had the Colts and the Jaguars. Jaguars pulling that one off 31-21. Calvin Ridley looking good. I didn't really see much more than that. But I
think Anthony Richardson looked alright for his first game.
Yeah, I didn't really see much of this game, so I don't really know much of what was going on. But I did hear that Calvin Ridley was doing pretty good. And they expect that to be like a top combo, the Lawrence to Ridley. But this game was close for a while, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think anybody expected them to be as close as it was.
Right.
Mike said Richardson was pretty good. I think you're right. I think he actually played a pretty decent game for his first NFL start.
Right.
They got a bright future.
Yeah. I mean, going into the fourth quarter, the Colts were actually winning in this game. They were up 21-17 going into the fourth quarter. And then the Jags scored 14 points in the fourth quarter, but maybe the Colts won't be that easy pushover of a team. Maybe they'll have some dogfight in them. That'll be nice to see. And then we had another surprise for some of us. Some of us aren't surprised just because of pure hatred for the team, but the Bucks taking out the Vikings 20-17.
Let's go.
I expected more out of the Vikings, that's for sure.
I didn't.
Yeah, well, you're pure hatred for the Vikings, so.
You like that?
Yeah, right? So, I mean, Justin Jefferson still got me a decent amount of points. It got me good points. But I think the Vikings' offensive line was giving up quite a bit of pressures, weren't they?
Yeah, the offensive line didn't look great. And I think they lost a couple, I don't know for how long, but a couple starters on that line, the injuries. And I think their running game wasn't great without Dalvin Cook there anymore. Mm-hmm. I mean, Madison scored that touchdown, but other than that, he didn't really have a big game. But tough week now for them going, short week into Philly, so
yeah.
They needed that win last week, win a game they probably should have won, but
yeah, Josh has them going 0-16 this year, so 0-17. 1-16.
1-16. I give him one win.
One win.
Yeah.
It's a fluke win.
2-15. We'll beat the Packers twice.
Okay. Yeah, let's not go crazy.
And then a nice start to get to 12-5 for the Saints, coming back and taking a victory over the Titans, 16-15. And
hey, how you win,
dude?
As long as you win.
That final drive, Derek Carr was pumped up. Do you see the highlight or the mic'd up portion of that? His final drive, man, he called it. He said to give Shaheed the go route, and so Derek Carr
just run.
Yeah, Derek Carr's setting that up, man. Maybe he's got a future OC job coming or something. So that's that one. Then the probably only win the Commanders are going to get all year when they beat the Cardinals 20-16. Not much to say to this game. I heard a lot of people saying, dude, the Cardinals have to be trying to throw the games because they just played horrible.
Well,
Go ahead, Mike.
If they played that horrible trying to lose, then what's that say about Washington to barely beat them?
Right.
I tell you what, I don't think a lot of people went and attended or watched this game, real excited. So
yeah. Then that brings us to the Texans and Ravens. Excuse me, Ravens taking it 25-9, but taking a huge hit and losing J.K. Dobbins for the year again.
he looked good too.
I I tell you, man, the Ravens just cannot stay healthy. They cannot stay healthy, especially their running backs.
Well, that's tough break for them.
They have the weapons. Zay Flowers did pretty good.
Yeah.
That day, and their team. They're obviously a good team. My girlfriend's son. He's a big Baltimore Ravens fan. I shot him out today. It's his birthday, and he got tickets to Baltimore versus the Lions, October 22nd. So the three of us are going to be going to the game.
Nice.
Happy birthday!
I'll tell him you guys
Birthday, yeah. That's a tough game to go to, though. You're gonna watch a loss. That's the week before we go down to Pittsburgh.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we go down to Pittsburgh the next week.
It's gonna be a fun time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So shout out Davin Manning, age 12.
There you go. Happy 12th.
There you go.
Happy 12th. That's a good ticket for a 12th birthday, man.
Pretty exciting thing for him. So he's really pumped for sure.
Nice. Now, do you think they call back Melvin Gordon since they released him at the beginning of the year? Or you think they go in another direction to try to get somebody in there to replace Dobbins?
I mean, personally, I think they hang tight. They got Gus Edwards. They have Justice Hill. I think they're going to try to stay tight with that, see what happens, and then you never know. See what happens, but it'll be interesting, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And they got Lamar. He's a running back, too, so they're good.
That's true. They got enough running going on. Which brings us to the last 1 o'clock game, or as I call it, the massacre. 30-7, San Fran taking out Pittsburgh. A lot of people at work, a lot of kids at work this week wanted to try to talk trash on me after the Steelers lost so bad, but all I gotta say is, man, it's the 49ers. I'm not going to panic just yet. It's the 49ers. Now, we did have a couple big injuries in that game, which I don't think affected the game at all. I think they still would have been handing it to us. But Deontay Johnson pulled his hamstring, and Cam Hayward pulled his groin. And Hayward's going to be out at least 8 weeks. And Deontay Johnson's going to miss multiple weeks is how they're putting it, but I think it'll only be a couple weeks. But the Niners looked good.
The Niners looked really good, man.
Yeah, I don't know if there's going to be a team that's going to be able to step up to the 49ers.
I mean, it was the Steelers, so let's.
I mean, they were hot coming into that game, but the Niners just. We were talking about it last week too, that there's not a lot of weaknesses on the Niners. They're a well-balanced, well-put-together team. They got good defense. They got great offensive players. It's just the Niners are going to be good this year. That's for sure.
And they got a Purdy guy quarterbacking it.
A Purdy quarterback. So. Yep. Then the next game, which I'm not going to lie, I was a little surprised on. The Green Bay Packers 38-20 over the Chicago Bears.
Thank you.
Yeah, congrats, man. Love played well. Aaron Jones was real good, and that defense was just on point. Now I don't know how much of that was Green Bay's defense being great, and how much of it was the Chicago Bears only having Justin Fields.
Mike, you want to take first, and then I'll round it out.
No, it's your team. I'll let you go.
All right. Listen, this one I'm going to tell you. We have been historically known to be terrible against running quarterbacks. Colin Kaepernick used to destroy us. Justin Fields in the past has destroyed us. I was extremely impressed. what they were doing as a defense. One thing that I would say that was a little confusing was I felt like they were not allowing Justin Fields to be like his own, like his normal successful running the quarter, like as a quarterback. I felt like they were trying to do too much of like the pocket passer. It just didn't work.
Right.
As far as Green Bay's offense goes, I was extremely pleased with Aaron Jones. I think we talked about this. It was like the one weapon that needed to go off, and he went off. Obviously, he had the hamstring. Dobbs played really well for being limited, had 2 touchdowns. I mean, Love, he's impressing me. And I know it's week 1, but he played a really good first week. And I think with the situation of replacing one of the greatest quarterbacks to do it, I was very happy. So it's going to be exciting. We'll see.
I guess the Bears just can't beat the Packers, man.
That's true.
That's our little girl right there.
Did you see the meme going around where it's a picture of Love and Aaron Rodgers like high-fiving, and it was tagged like Rodgers handing the ownership over to Love of the Chicago Bears.
That's funny.
Yeah, they did look good. The Packers look good. I didn't expect them to come out looking.
Okay.
Yeah, he was smiling when they were stretching him out. He was in good spirits. I think he'll be good.
I think they kept him out as like a precaution because they were already up so much.
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
There's a lot of hype around it, so we'll see. I mean, I liked it. Definitely was a little bit more surprising than I thought, but
he didn't like it.
And we didn't even have Christian Watson.
Loved it.
I loved it. I loved it, man. Man, lots of
They look good. They look good.
Yeah. Then the next game was the Raiders pulling it out against the Broncos. The Broncos still look like the Broncos from last year, man. It's just, it is what it is, right?
Maybe Russell Wilson just doesn't have it anymore. I guess we'll see as more time goes on this year. But last year we sat there and said, "Oh, maybe it's the coaching and this and that." But week 1 this year, it doesn't look any better. So I guess we'll see. But maybe he's just not the same old Russell anymore.
He needs to stop kissing babies and focus on football. more than he already is. The next one was pretty interesting. The Eagles actually struggled with the Patriots for a while. But they pulled it out, 25-20. Like you said, it doesn't matter how you win as long as you win, right? But I was surprised they struggled with them as much as they did.
And I think a game like that is what makes you a good team, is when you could be a little off and still find ways to pull a game out. Obviously, it wasn't pretty. They struggled here and there, but at the end of the day, they got the win. So I guess that's how you become a great team, is pulling out games like that.
Yeah, you win the games you need to.
Yeah,
it's true. Yeah.
And a Bill Belichick coach team is always going to put up some type of fight. I mean, they're too good coach to not put up a fight. So.
Well, especially when it's week 1, he's got a lot of time to prepare for you. Yeah, so. But it was also kind of nice to see the Eagles struggle a little bit.
I mean, I was hoping they lost, but obviously,
Yep. Then the Dolphins taking care of the Chargers 36-34 with a comeback win. Apparently one of the 7 they're going to get this year in my book. But yeah, I mean the Dolphins, Tua looked good. Tyreek was a monster.
Over 200 yards.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So the Dolphins, they look good. I mean the Chargers will be fine too. To be in that situation with the Dolphins and still be in it to the end, shootout type of thing, the Chargers will be just fine.
My question about the Dolphins is, they're both really two good offensive teams, right? Now, what's going to happen when they face a team that has a good defense?
Right.
And obviously, I'm not saying that their defenses are bad, but what if you had a 49ers? I'm saying, what is your offense going to be able to play as good, and then is your defense going to be able to hold off a team like that? And that's where it's going to end up being. But we'll see.
Good point. Mike, anything from this game?
No, just really good game. I mean, back and forth. I think the Chargers played really well too, and like you said, they'll be fine. But the Dolphins played really well too, and excited to see, I guess, what both these teams do the rest of the season.
I feel like this is one of those typical Chargers games where they were right there, but they couldn't get over that hump. Like they just couldn't do it.
Yeah, they do have a lot of games like that all the time.
Yeah. Well, but they'll be all right. I think they still do well. The next game I see on here was also a little bit of a shock. It was close for a while, then all of a sudden the Rams just took off with it, beating the Seahawks 30-13. I don't know, these guys, like we were talking about the NFC West before, that there's just nothing that really sticks out on any of the teams. It's just, I don't know what happened.
Besides the
49ers, yeah. But like the Cardinals and the Cardinals are going to be garbage this year, and then there's the Rams and the Seahawks are like in the middle. Like I don't see anything that's like wow, like crazy about them. You know what I mean?
I think it was a little shocking how things ended up. I mean, obviously the Rams, a couple years from a Super Bowl, obviously Stafford's back playing, but it was kind of shocking that the Seahawks didn't have that chemistry like they did last year. It was kind of like one of those things where I think Geno went out for the second half. I don't know if he was injured, but I didn't get to watch the game, but I think he was injured for a little bit there. Or he got injured, I'm pretty sure. I don't know if you guys know.
I do not know if he got injured or not, but he he went 16 for 26 with one touchdown and 112 yards.
I thought I heard something about it, but
yeah, his QBR was at 84.1. So Stafford started connecting with what's that guy's name there?
Yeah, Cuba.
Nakua. Yeah, he started hooking up with him pretty good, and he did pretty well with Tutu Atwell too. So
that 15 targets.
That's good for them since Cooper Kupp's going to be out for a while. Have those other guys step up and do some things for him.
So let me tell you guys. Sorry, go ahead, Mike.
I think those guys played well, but I think it's obviously going to be way more tougher when they play a little bit more of a defense than they did. But definitely, if they can keep them guys going a little bit and get Cooper Kupp back, then maybe they'll be okay. Maybe not. I don't think they're going to be great. We talked about this already, but they might not roll over.
Yeah. And they got two rushing touchdowns out of Kyren Williams too.
Yeah.
I mean, he only had 52 yards, but he had two touchdowns. That's good.
I don't know what the Rams. I don't get the whole Cam Akers thing. They just never seem to use him. I don't know what it is. I mean, it just must not like the guy. I don't know.
Yeah. And they don't like him.
Baltimore. Hey. Minnesota. Hey. Start calling, start seeing what's going on with these guys.
So I told you both that I presented a trade that I thought got accepted. So I offered David, Patrick Mahomes, and Puka for Justin Fields and Cooper Kupp.
He said no?
At first he said yes. But he couldn't drop anybody, and he was scared of who he was going to drop because he has too many players that are trash on his bench. so he wanted to keep all the trash guys. And then he realized, he goes, Justin Fields isn't that much worse than, or he's not that much far off of Mahomes. And he said once Cooper Kupp comes back, and hey, listen, I get it. But
David said Justin Fields ain't that far off from Mahomes.
yeah, he like fantasy wise. Yeah, which first week, I mean, it looked rough. It looked real rough.
I'm not saying nothing on it because I love Justin Fields.
Me too.
We always talk about Justin Fields, and I'm really thinking he's going to keep taking that next step up. So obviously we'll see. But last week he didn't seem to take that next jump yet. Or last week. Hopefully, I still got faith in him.
Yeah, we were just talking last week that I think it's, we have the Lions as our adopted team. We kind of rolling with the Bills, and I think this year we're all going to kind of buy into the Justin Fields hype. I finally came around to the Justin Fields hype, and I think I'm getting on board with it. I think he'll be one we're all interested in watching this year to see how he does.
He's an exciting player, He's a pretty good player, so.
So those are all the Sunday afternoon games. Now we can discuss the Sunday night massacre that occurred at MetLife Stadium. 40 to nothing.
It was nice to have one last preseason game in before the real thing started.
Oh man, 40 to nothing. That defense had Daniel Jones rethinking his life decisions. That was nuts, man. What do they have, like 6, 7 sacks, something like that?
7 sacks, 2 picks, a blocked field goal touchdown, and I think they had like 2 or 3 fumble recoveries too. And plus even when they didn't get to Daniel Jones sacked, I mean, they were either pressuring him or hitting him. So, I mean, every play it seemed like they were right in there on him.
Yeah, it almost felt like the Cowboys were getting to Daniel Jones before the ball was.
And I don't understand. There was a time where I started to actually care about Daniel Jones a little bit. Fourth quarter, 40 to nothing, and they still have him out there.
Yeah.
What are you doing to the guy?
I saw some interesting things posted, because on Facebook, I don't know how all these other teams' fan pages pop up on my newsfeed, but they do, like the Raiders pop up, the Seahawks, the stuff like that. A Giants one popped up today, and it was very interesting. Apparently, the Giants fans want their organization to reach out to Justin Pugh, or Paul, or whatever his name was, their old guard there, and Andrew Norwell, to try to shore up that right side of the line, because there was just nothing there.
Yeah, they definitely did something, especially after that performance last time. I mean, because they didn't block nothing.
No. And
it was sad.
Who's the guy that had the punt returns? Didn't they get a punt return for a touchdown by somebody?
That was the Jets.
That was the Jets.
They just got Dallas got it was a pick 6 and a blocked field goal.
All right. Yeah, they
Gates had a pretty good play, right?
The guy that returned, I can't even pronounce his name. We just signed him like maybe a month ago. We traded Kelvin Joseph for this guy to Miami.
Yeah,
he was a first-round pick of Miami back in 2020, and it was kind of just like for both of them, a change of scenery type trade.
Yeah. Yeah. They Tyrod Taylor did get in the fourth quarter.
I must have dozed off.
He must have, man. It was with a minute left. He was in there making plays.
Oh, a minute left, yeah.
In the last minute of the game, they put him in for the last drive. Daniel Jones was probably like, "No, fuck this, man. I'm not going in. Don't put me in. I'm done. I'm done." Yeah.
What I love about that, just like the D line for Dallas, is that they got so much depth that they could just keep rotating.
Their defense looked
their
real
defense
good.
It's scary. It's scary. Like,
I'm excited about it.
Gilmore had a pick, right? Gilmore had a pick?
Huh?
Gilmore had a pick, didn't
Yeah. Yeah.
So they got Gilmore and Diggs, and they got Parsons. Like their defense looked good. Their offense didn't look too bad either, but their defense looked real good.
yeah,
I'm curious, I guess, to see as the year goes on, how that offense does. Dak again, and with Brandon Cooks there, and Gallup back after another full year coming back from the ACL. But obviously, this game they didn't really have to do much offense-wise and I'm sure down the line, obviously, they're going to have to do more, but this week it was nice to kind of just be on cruise control.
Yeah. That's good for them.
And not have to be on the edge of my seat the whole game.
Could doze off towards the end of it. Turn the TV off, go to bed a little early.
Yeah.
So those were the Sunday night games. Then brings to what everybody wants to talk about. The Monday night game. The 75-second career of Aaron Rodgers in the New York Jets. 4 plays. Now, the only thing that sucks for you guys is now you get a 2nd-round pick instead of a 1st-round pick.
Which we talked about, right? The Jets could not find the quarterback, and it could be a bad thing, right? So
it could turn into a Chicago-Pittsburgh deal where Pittsburgh traded Claypool for a 2nd-round pick and ended up really being like this 32nd overall pick because whoever got their pick stripped from
yep.
Might have been the Dolphins, but Aaron Rodgers going down. Josh Allen played like now, granted, I didn't watch most of it. I was up for a long time Sunday night with a dog being crazy, so I kind of fell asleep during this one. But Josh Allen, from what I was seeing, did not look like Josh Allen.
He was ridiculous, dude. It was bad. Like, he was just chucking it up there.
Yeah. And the one player on the Jets had 3 interceptions.
And not just him chucking it up, but I remember, you're in my position last year because you got Josh Allen now in fantasy. I remember every time I was watching Josh Allen last year, you always have to hold your breath because he's not the guy that's going to go out of bounds. He's going right eyes and hurt. And
you sit there like, oh my God.
Yeah.
He tried to dive over 2 guys. I'm like, what are you
accomplishing? He dives head first a lot, too.
He does. I'm telling you, it wasn't even a first down, and he wasn't even going to get the first down, and he dove over 2 guys. I'm like, what are you doing? As your fantasy quarterback owner, you need to stop, please.
Yeah, right.
Call the old Josh Allen and say, listen, bud, slide down.
Yeah, right. Learn to slide. To run out of bounds every once in a while.
It's kind of a little fun fact. I don't know if you guys know the name of the cornerback that got all those interceptions or the safety, whatever he was. But he had an incentive bonus, $250,000 if he could get 3 interceptions in the year. So he already got it. So
that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's kind of funny.
But I mean, from what I hear, I don't know. Like I said, I didn't really watch it. Breece Hall at one point I saw on my bench had 2 carries for 109 yards. So I think he played
good.
He played well. I know he had an 82-yard rush at one point. I remember looking at that stat line and being like 2 carries for 100 and some odd yards, and he doesn't have a touchdown.
He ran off. He had one for it was going to be a touchdown. He just ran out of steam.
Yeah, it was like
they were
82
at the 2 yards. And he blew up it was a good run.
Yeah, so that'll be good.
Did you see Garrett Wilson's touchdown?
Mm-mm.
Did you guys see that? Mike, did you see it? Holy smokes! Talk about it. He grabbed with his right hand and hit it over to himself, and they caught it. It was the craziest. You have to watch it. It was.
It's tough, man. I really would have liked to see that connection of Rodgers and Wilson this year, but
You got screwed, bro.
So what do you think about Rodgers, the coach, talking and helping Zach Wilson and being in Zach Wilson's head or ear the whole season and trying to go on from there?
The good thing about this team with Zach Wilson, he doesn't really have to be great.
Right.
I mean, they got a good running game, really good defense. As long as he just kind of manages the game and doesn't try too much and make mistakes, I mean, they could still be okay. Especially with Rodgers coaching them up.
I think there's one thing that Rodgers could really help Zach Wilson with, and Rodgers getting old, but Zach Wilson likes the MILFs. So Rodgers might have a connection of the same age women that can help Wilson.
Rodgers got a pretty good checklist of his own girls that he's been with there.
Yeah, he does.
But
listen, yeah, he can help them out. I mean, it's a win-win, man. Win-win.
It would be nice for Zach either way, right? But yeah, so that's our week 1 rundown from stuff that happened, which brings us to our Pick'em's results. As we remember, last year I took it home. I don't have all the final scores and stuff, but I was in first, Mike was in second, Josh was in third. Because we forgot a week. So starting off this week, week 1, Mike and I start off on a tie at 7-9 with our Pick'ems. Yeah. Josh is doing a little bit better than that. He starts off at 11-5.
Woo!
So
I didn't think we were that bad this week, huh?
Yeah,
You guys picked a lot of the same.
Yeah. And we picked like the Chiefs, the
Vikings.
The Vikings.
I picked the Raiders. I picked the Raiders when you guys picked the Broncos.
Yep. I picked the Titans. I think you were the only one that picked the Saints, Mike. But yeah, it was not a good week for me. That's for sure. This was except I won in fantasy. That's the only good thing that happened for me. Yeah, we took the Bears. He took the Packers. But he also took the Giants. So
I did take the Giants.
I think it was the Giants. He took the Niners. We took the Steelers. So
you guys took the Steelers. I know that was unfortunate.
Karen, I'm sorry about that game. We didn't mean to do it together.
But yeah, that was week 1. So congratulations, Josh. You're off to a good start.
Thank you, fellas.
We'll come back in a little bit and do some pick'ems and we'll go from there. All right?
Yes, sir.
So I guess for now that's our reactions. That's another episode in the books for 2 guys.
One Mike. Let's go.